Hey everyone, this is Tammy. Thanks for joining me. Um, so yesterday I did a video. It's not listed. The link is in the box here, but it was about how we can end the brutality. I decided to expand on it a little bit further, and so here I am again. um, the reason why I'm talking today is because, well, I don't know about you. I'm pretty I'm pretty confident I can speak for more than just myself. But when we scroll through social media, the um, news report links that are being shared all over the place, the conversations that are taking place, it's fair to say that it's very easy to feel an urgency, to feel to sense that something actually needs to happen, right? I mean, we can feel this. And if you haven't seen any of my videos or heard me speak before on this, welcome. Thanks for being here. I wanted to say that I've been talking a little bit about the word namaste. And in fact, I'll put links to those videos or that particular video because I do address in that the even in the last video I did, I talk about the mob mindset. Now, I don't necessarily mean that in a derogatory way. I'm talking about it from a chemically um, connected way. Why the mob mentality is real. How we can be in a group of people who are just head over heels excited about something, and we just feel enthusiasm. Whereas if we're in a group of people, or we're surrounded by people, or the collective is pissed and ready to rumble, we can feel that too. Okay, so there is that degree, and then of course there's the emotions from our own self, from our own psyche, that when we read these things, we become concerned, we become fearful. If we're going to be honest about it, we're going to become fearful that you know stuff is happening that is out of our control. We try to understand what's happening. We even find that our mind starts to try and predict, and we hear people predicting about how this is going to go, because even if we don't believe, even if our mind goes, that's just not possible, that's not going to go that way, there's still this sensation of fear, because basically, it appears as if our life is out of control. The world is out of control. Our future is out of our control. It's out of our hands. And this is another reason why when we go through these things, the first thing that we start to feel the sensations, all of these come up, that everything starts to rise, it starts to bubble, and the first reaction that we have is to make a comment, to share, to rally the troops, if you will. It's perfectly understandable why this is going on, and as human beings, it's our job to stand up for justice. So this isn't about, I mean, I'm not telling you anything you probably already don't know. um, this is something this is why we're here. We're here to heal the planet. If we're here to heal ourselves, we're here to heal the planet. We're here to create shifts that benefit the whole. Okay, we're here to bring alignment, to reestablish connection, to live in the space of love, to act in the space of love. I want to, speaking of that, I want to say one thing about the word love and the idea of love, because I've heard several people talking about how all we need to do is just love one another. Well, let's be realistic, you guys. If you think loving one another is patting each other on the head, or stroking each other on the back, or smacking one another from time to time on the ass, that's not love. Okay? Putting up with crap is not love. That's called being a doormat. Okay, at the same time, to be rallying and rioting and looting and killing people over our anger and the division that's being created, and our perceived thoughts about what other people are thinking is ridiculous too. That's not what we're here to do either. That's not love. There is such a thing as we talk about tough love, and tough love is willing to be honest. Tough love is willing to do what it takes. It's called conscious activism. So the word namaste means to honor the light within. We generally, when we look at it, it's a projection, honoring the light within you. But I challenge everybody that is tuned into this to put the word namaste on your mirror and practice namaste in the mirror. Are you willing to honor the light within yourself? In my video yesterday, I talked about the way we're living in an unstable world. And the only way to establish stability is to be stable within ourselves. And the only way to accomplish that stability is to honor the light within ourselves, to regroup, to center. And that sounds crazy. And I've told people, and I've talked to people and I've gotten so much backlash because, well, if we stop focusing on all the nonsense going on in the world, if we stop focusing all the anger and the backlashing and the political agendas, and we stop focusing on that, we have more control. But currently, they have the power over us, regardless. Even if nothing changes, they have us by the balls. You know why? Because we keep getting angry and pissed off, and we keep sharing things, and we keep making negative comments about stuff. They have all the power. We are giving them our power. So if we want to empower this and empower ourselves and actually come at this from the space of love, we have to be willing to love ourselves, be willing to cut the bullshit, be willing to get over ourselves, our own egos, and become stable within. That's how you honor the light within. You become stable. You do what it takes to stabilize yourself before ever reaching out and doing anything. Otherwise, it's a half-assed maneuver. So I made some notes here when I was looking at all this because, like I said, when I was scrolling through all of this, I could feel it. And so my practice now is to, when I start to feel it, I just turn it all off. Now, some people would be saying, they might say to me, well, you know what, you're just turning a blind eye. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm disconnecting from the emotional drama, and I'm looking at myself as to what I need to shift within me to honor myself in order to come back and do stuff like this. I don't really feel like spreading more bad news. What I want, what my intention is to empower one another, to begin coming at this from a different perspective. Guess what? It's like we can make these massive shifts. We can generate massive shifts in our world for one another in the space of justice and love by looking at ourselves and stop paying attention to what all of this out there. Stop paying attention to that and start paying attention to yourself. Start focusing on what it is you need. Start focusing on what empowers you, what stabilizes you. Okay? So, to begin with, when we look at all this stuff, we can see the brutality in the world, and that's the reason why I did the video yesterday. It's time to end the brutality. I really don't give a crap about I don't really care about the political agendas. I mean, yeah, my heart breaks for George Floyd. He was brutally murdered in front of our eyes. I didn't see this. The skin color didn't matter to me. It was the fact that this was and again, please go watch that video because I actually shared some statistics that I think you might find interesting if you haven't already seen the video. But it wasn't about skin color. It was about the brutal violation of a man. That's the part I'm getting at. And this is occurring around the world, especially throughout our country. This world is sinister. The cult crimes are off the charts. So the time is come for us to end the brutality and give up these political games. Like I said, I felt bad. My heart goes out for George Floyd, because although he died a brutal murder, a brutal death, there is there was the way he was used in a political war is and it continued. I am. Okay. I my dad. He has this bad habit of just shouting up the stairs because he can't come up the stairs. So, pardon me for that. If you didn't hear him, that's what that was. Anyway, so George Floyd's murder was, or death, is being used for political gain. I mean, the day of his funeral, there was talk of what one person did versus what another person of the other political party did. His death was used for political gain. And this is beyond political, as far as I'm concerned. This is about humanity. This is about the difference between surviving and thriving. That's what this is all about. So when I look at all of these things, I see the brutality. I feel like we live in a sinister world, especially when you think about, like I said, again, go watch the video from yesterday. That link is in the box below. But it's about the cult crimes. This is a horrible world at this point. And so it's time to make some shifts. So now that I've said all that and I've kind of regrouped myself, my question is, again, like I said, how do you handle the news? Like I started this whole thing, who are you? And another thing that I thought of earlier is it's time to drop our links to being affiliated with different things, our labels, female, male, identifying with certain pronouns, identifying with religions, identifying with political parties, identifying with skin color. Even though all of those things exist, if we continue to identify with all of that, then we continue to separate ourselves. And while there's pride and there's special qualities about each one, it doesn't make us who we are. So that's the reason I ask, who are you? Who am I? I am, I'm a stand for love. I'm a stand for thriving. I'm a stand for generating outstanding shifts for the highest good of all. That's who I am. But again, if we look at this and that we understand how it generates, it can generate anger. When we go inward, we can now begin to shift that anger into passion. What are we really passionate about? Okay, if it does come down to race and ethnicity, fine, but please don't allow the anger to fuel your next moves. What would passion do? What would love do? Another one is, when I said earlier, somebody would say to me, when I turn it off, well, you're turning a blind eye. And I've actually heard other YouTubers say the same thing. No, I'm not. I'm turning off the need to feel alarmed. There's a lot of sensationalism going on, and people seem to think that the more alarmed we are, the more they can get from us. No. The stronger we feel, the more confident we feel, the more grounded we feel, the more they can get out of us. So when I see this information, I know that it's going on. Now I'm aware of it. Big difference. I choose not to be alarmed, because to be alarmed means the next thing, I am now reacting. And that's where they have us, when we are reacting. So turning inward, focusing and honoring our light, finding ways to stabilize ourselves, now gives us the capacity and clarity that we need to be proactive rather than reactive. Big differences here. Otherwise, um, we are motivated by our emotions rather than accessing, here you go, the power of the brain. Okay, this has been an evolution of my personal business practice. I've talked for years about mental health, years, because I thought mental health was what I was really about. I'm actually about brain health. And there's been a lot of things that have surfaced for me lately around brain, and although it is the mind, it's not the mental. And the power of the brain has the ability to influence mental health, mental stability, emotional stability, physical stability. Emotionally reactive, emotionally motivated does nothing for us but diminish our mental abilities and diminish our physical abilities. But if we access the power of the brain and we focus on brain health, and this is the basis of the theme, that's the word I was looking for. The theme of my June newsletter is about brain health. I have a few ideas around the brain, and truthfully, if we know that, there's the D-Wave computer, there's the Hadron Collider. There's been throughout history for centuries. There's stories of people using, mushrooms, right, or fungus. The fungus are the ones that, even if it grows on fermented grains from, centuries ago, and people were eating it, and they would have a hallucinogenic experience. And psychologists have experimented with this, and so it just had me pondering. And no, by the way, if you're asking any questions, I do not do hallucinogenics. No, I'm fascinated by the brain, and I'm fascinated by the power of the brain, and I have experienced manifestation like that. Of things that I clearly want instantly. So I'm aware of what we are capable of in the brain, and so I don't need a hallucinogen to access it. But my point is that the brain is an access point to something outside of this human body. It's connected to so much. Keep in mind, we are the only organism with the ability to control our breathing and our thoughts. The only organism that can do that. And somehow or another, we seem to think, but we lose sight of that we have no control over outside of us. Look, I had an experience yesterday where I wanted something. I pulled up in front of a building. I knew what I wanted, but I was joining somebody, and I thought, this isn't going to go. This is going to go the way they want it to go. It's gonna, I knew what was. Let me back up a minute. I knew what was going to be presented when we got out of the car and walked in together, and I had in my mind what I wanted. And what was interesting, when I walked into the building, circumstances were such that they couldn't have what they originally thought, but we all got what we wanted, including me. It was that fast because I was really very clear about what I was going to do, and what I wanted. And then, of course, in my mind, once I knew what I wanted, then I started trying to fabricate the ways I was going to get it. And then it didn't go the way I thought it was going to go, but nevertheless, I still got what I wanted. That's the power of the brain and the manifestation when you're that clear. Okay. And when we stabilize ourselves, we now become clear about what we want in this world. We become clear about what we want for one another, for ourselves, for society, and we become more proactive in our steps. Again, we're not tolerating anything any longer. Being a stand for love, being a stand for justice, this does not mean we tolerate being walked on. This does not mean we tolerate being overpowered. But guess what? When somebody tries to overpower us, what we need to do is literally give them the hand. Sorry, talk to the hand. I ain't going to engage with you right now. It's that simple. I'll come back when I'm ready. That, my friend, is taking back your power. When you can just say, talk to the hand, I'll be back. You have just now empowered yourself and you've completely taken the power away from them. It's that simple. And if we all can start taking these steps and really, really focusing on our brain health, let me tell you something. Neurogenesis and neuroplasticity is a real thing. And it comes from this ability of ours to control our thoughts and our breathing. Please, if you haven't already joined my email list, please sign up for this email, for this month's newsletter, because it's pretty freaking cool. But we have this power. And yes, there are actually essential oils that you can use for it too. But there again, I'm not going to give you any oils to use for your brain, because what you've got going on in your life, and meaning medications and supplements and so forth, that's going to mean. And please, there's a video I just did on that. 2 ways to use essential oils. That link is in the box below too. And it goes into why I won't talk about oils any longer in such a way as just making a generalized recommendations. It's dangerous. It's dangerous. And as a professional, I vow to do no harm. So I actually messaged somebody yesterday on Twitter on the Today program because they were talking about lavender for sleep. Wrong. I'm finishing up a book of mine on oils and sleep. And lavender is not one you want to use for a number of reasons. And boy, if you think I'm going to say because of estrogenic effects, think again. It's even more serious than that. So anyway, I digress. But the whole point is that with the right selection of oils for your system, you have the ability to improve brain health. You have the ability to stabilize yourself chemically, okay, which improves your brain. And so there's a whole method here that I'm happy to help you with if you want to know anything. If you want to message me. If you want specific assistance, then please sign up for a consult. To do that, you can do that on my website. But the point is that it's time to, like I said yesterday, to end this brutality. And if we really, really want to empower a positive shift, if we really want to generate a shift that empowers everybody, then it's time to stop allowing. It's time to stop retaliating with trying to overpower somebody who's trying to overpower. It's stop giving your power away. Keep your cards close to your chest. So when somebody pisses you off, just, talk to the hand, man. Just talk to the hand. I'll be back. I'll be back when both of my feet are like, "Ugh," and we're sunken and we're ready. Because you try to knock a tree down, ain't happening unless those roots are unstable, right? Anyway, that's it for today. I appreciate you guys very much. Please let me know if you have any questions. Tammy at synergessence.com. Synergessence.com is my website. You can sign up for my email list there. And again, if you care for a consult, you can do that too from the services tab. And check out the blog. I've got some interesting things on there as well. So anyway, here's to our future. Here's to generating positive shifts. Talk to the hand, right? That's it. Talk to the hand and namaste.